In a peaceful village nestled among green hills, lived a man named Thomas. He was an old carpenter, known for his skillful hands and kind heart. His small wooden house stood on the edge of the forest, where he lived alone after his wife had passed away many years ago. Though his life was simple, Thomas always wore a smile and willingly repaired furniture for the poor without asking for anything in return. In gratitude, the villagers often brought him bread, vegetables, and warm wishes whenever the weather turned cold. One early spring morning, while venturing into the forest to gather tree sap for glue, Thomas noticed something shimmering beneath a large bush. Gently brushing aside the dry leaves, he found an old mirror. Strangely, the mirror did not reflect his own image. Instead, it showed a younger, wealthier version of himself, living in a luxurious home, admired and praised by many. Each time he looked into the mirror, the image changed. He saw himself owning a grand carpentry workshop, having apprentices, wealth, and everything he had once dreamed of in his youth. Thomas brought the mirror home and placed it in a corner of his workshop. Each night, he sat in front of it for hours, dreaming of a different life, a life of what if. But the more he looked, the more he felt a deep emptiness. Shared meals with neighbors grew rare. The laughter in the village became distant, and his hands spent less time shaping wood and more time resting on his lap, heavy with longing. One night, as his oil lamp flickered low, Thomas saw a haunting image in the mirror. An old man, alone in a grand house, surrounded by silence. His smile was gone. No one stood beside him. Thomas stood still. He walked over and covered the mirror with a cloth. The next morning, he returned the mirror to the forest and left it beneath the old tree where he had found it. On the way home, he stopped by a neighbor's house, borrowed some flour, and fixed the creaky chair of the old woman who often visited to share stories. From that day on, Thomas stopped dreaming of another life. He lived each day fully, finding joy in the sound of his saw, the smell of fresh bread from nearby homes, and the grateful eyes of the villagers. He had learned that happiness did not lie in far-off dreams, but in the simple, peaceful, and loving life already around him. Thomas's story is a gentle yet profound reminder of the true nature of happiness. In today's world, many of us get swept up in a whirlwind of ambition, comparison, and illusions of what life should be. We often look at others, or the idealized versions of life in our minds, and think, if only I had that, I would be happier. The mysterious mirror in the story symbolizes those unrealistic expectations and dreams that don't always lead to fulfillment. It caused Thomas to momentarily forget the priceless treasures he already possessed: the respect of his community, the genuine affection of his neighbors, and the quiet joy of the craft he loved. As he became absorbed in visions of a grander life, he lost touch with the present, the place where true happiness actually resides. It was only when he saw the final outcome of living in an illusion, a life of loneliness, emptiness, and the absence of real connection, that he realized happiness doesn't come from having more, but from the ability to feel enough. It is found in inner peace, in gratitude for the simple things, and in meaningful bonds with those around us. We don't need everything to feel fulfilled. Sometimes, in the smallest of moments, a warm meal, a kind word from a neighbor, a selfless act of kindness, we come closest to the essence of happiness. Like Thomas, when we learn to return to ourselves, to embrace and appreciate our reality, we realize we are already richer than most, not because of what we own, but because of a heart that is open, calm, and content. And that is the only kind of wealth that can never be taken away.